Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Faculty of Law of the University of Hong Kong, may I first welcome all of you to this 11th floor conference room of our faculty. This is one of the public lectures organized by us in celebration of the 55th anniversary of our law school, which was founded in 1969. We have organized a number of lectures, some of which have already been held and some are forthcoming. It is my great pleasure to chair this lecture to be given by Mr. Dennis Chang, SC, as he is usually known, but I would address him as Professor Dennis Chang, as he is honorary professor of our faculty. The Dean of our faculty, Professor Fu Haling, will introduce Mr. Dennis Chang to us. In fact, Mr. Chang needs no introduction, but still we need to tell you more about his very distinguished career as one of the most well-known counsel or barrister in Hong Kong.
Right. Thank you, Albert. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Faculty of Law. I'm truly honored and privileged to introduce Professor Dennis Chen, CBE, KC, SC. Dennis is truly a legendary figure in Hong Kong's legal community. Professor Chen is a graduate of the University of Bristol, England, where he obtained his LLB in 1967, and from which he holds a Doctor of Laws degree. He's a member of Lincoln's Inn and was called into the Bar of England and Wales in 1968, and was admitted to the Hong Kong Bar in 1970. He has been in private practice continuously since then, appointed as Queen's Counsel at a relatively young age in 1981. He was chairman of Hong Kong Bar Association from 1985 to 1987, and an executive committee member of the Basic Law Consultative Committee. He was awarded a CBE in 1997, and is currently honorary professor at the Faculty of Law, the University of Hong Kong, and also the council chairman of St. Francis University. Professor Chen's practice has been almost exclusively civil. While starting out as a generalist, he soon found himself over the years increasingly drawn into different specialist area of practice, including property and tax, constitutional and human rights litigation, Chinese customary law, and later probate and administration. He has advised on and represented clients in numerous landmark cases. Whatever law he touches, he became an authority. For law students and law professors in particular, he probably is best known for acting for the right of vote claimants in Nkalian, which triggered a constitutional jurisprudence in Hong Kong, which is still evolving. Until early this year, Professor Chang has been for decades the chairman of the Hong Kong Law Journal Limited, which runs the well-known Hong Kong Law Journal, which is our faculty's flagship journal. We're very keen to learn from Professor Chen tonight on this new and challenging topic on the use of AI in legal practice. Professor Chen, please.
Thank you very much, Professor Hualing Fu. And also thank you very much, Professor Albert Chen. I'm glad that you call me Mr. Rather than Professor, but thank you very much indeed. I'm going to go straight into this topic, mindfulness and reflexivity in professional practice in the age of AI. We begin with mindfulness and the embodied mind. Now we know that with the exponential rise of generative AI, now in an age where AI is increasingly being embodied and human beings are increasingly being digitalized. Now we should be mindful that humans are the makers and masters and are themselves fearfully and wonderfully made. There are many forms of the mindfulness practices. For example, yoga, Tai Chi, Qigong, and of incorporating elements as mantra, meditation, mindful breathing, mindful eating, mindful walking, body scan and feeling tone, compassion and loving kindness, whether or not with cognitive behavioral changes, therapies, or other approaches, such as MBSR, which is stress reduction, and then so-called ACT, which is acceptance and commitment therapy. Now, while it has its own unique features, the Lonergan method intersects with analytic meditation. This is very important because this is not a term that many of you will be familiar with. Analytic meditation. I'll explain what it means later. Now, the method includes, but is not limited to, temporary relief of anxiety or stress or other negativities, important though such relief is, but is directed at long-term peace of mind and happiness. Now, its practice offers a means of stepping out of mere reactive doing into being and joyful living. Now, one of the very special features of the Lonergan method, as well as of the analytic meditation method, is that you meditate on your own thoughtful processes. In other words, you meditate, you think about thinking, and you meditate on the thinking about thinking, apart from other things. I will go to the, we will have three practice sessions, as well, a very, very quick one, in order to explain what I mean. This is a skit at the expense of lawyers. To the left, well, you can say that they're exercising a form of mindful eating. Two vultures thinking about whether they should eat that poor dead lawyer. And then you recall many years ago, there is this series, science fiction by Isaac Asimov, and it's called I, Robot. And there is a fictional character there who explains why robots are more decent than human beings. I will come to that in a moment, because those robots have built-in robotic laws, very famous robotic laws, which make them decent. Now, first, we have to look at this ghost in the machine, the Cartesian dualism. It's very difficult to pronounce that word, but you know what I mean. This is René Descartes, French philosopher, and he postulated that there is a division, a divide between the body and the mind. And Gilbert Ryle, who's a British philosopher, says that, well, no, he's wrong. He has created a ghost in a machine. So what we've got to do is to reconnect the mind and the body. And there's this famous book called The Embodied Mind. It's a Chilean biologist, philosopher. And they developed a framework called the 4E cognition. 4 E's. Now, this lecture is in a way rather peculiar in that you're going to find 4 at very important stages of the exercise. In fact, in a way, the whole lecture is a meditation. And just by happy coincidence that the 4 levels, for example, the 4 levels of Lonergan, the 4 E's, cognition. So what are they? What is this 4E cognition? First E, embodied. We are not just disembodied spirits. We're embodied beings. We're embedded. We're extended. We're in enacted aspects of human cognition. And then there's a 5th E. That's why you see the word plus at the sign plus, and that is ecological. Embodied. Now, this means the unity of mind and body. Now, just as bodily functions need the brain as an integral part of the living body, so the mind needs the body as an integral part of the whole person, engaged in cognition and restricted to experiential, not restricted to experiential learning of skills and competencies. There should be competencies. You see that lovely lady there? That's actually my daughter. She has a horse that is a therapeutic horse. It's a therapeutic horse. And she specializes in embodied learning. She's a horse whisperer. And she's in fact a psychotherapist. And you see all these illustrations there, dancing, calligraphy, is all about embodied learning. This unity between mind and body. Embedded means situated cognition, situated in an environment, in a particular social setting. Extended, and this postulates that the cognitive processes are not confined to the neural processes within the brain. So if you are sitting there meditating or contemplating, there's a difference between contemplation and meditation. But if you're sitting there meditating or contemplating, you are not really alone because you are all connected. You're connected, you're interconnected. Extended within the framework of 4E cognition. There is interoception. There is all these technical words. I have translated them into Chinese. And there's, of course, you have heard of the Taoist concept of the bodyscape, the landscape and the internal bodyscape, and porosity and liquid ecology and so on. Now, you can actually have a whole lecture, a whole series of lectures on all this. Now, I'm going to ask you to do the first exercise. We'll take a minute. And we're reaching the 4th E, which is enacted or inactivist. And the focus is a dynamic reciprocal relationship between organism and environment in sense making. Now, just look at the 2 figures there. You see the one at the bottom first? That's easy. Now, could you do this? Could you tell your eyes to push the black into the background? Push it into background. And this is to demonstrate intentional consciousness, what it means. Now, you push the black. What do you see? What do you see? You see two faces, right? Very simple. This is quite a famous vase, the two faces and the vase, two figures. Now, look at the top one. It's the Canadian flag. Of course, you see the maple leaf. Everybody sees the maple leaf. But what you should do now is to ask your eyes to push the red color into the background. See that? The red color. Push it into the background. Now, what do you see? Now, some people see something, some people see nothing. But look at the two noses, 1, 2, right? You look, if this is the background, you should see two heads, right? Looking down and like twin head. You see that? You see that? You don't see that? You see that. Now, there are loggerheads, right? And I assume, or I suppose, the one on the left here is French speaking from Quebec. That's the first exercise. It's easy. But you can see that this is not a deception. I mean, the mind looks for meaning. It constructs, but it doesn't construct in such a way as to deliberately deceive you. It tries to have meaning. Otherwise, a baby will be able to recognize the smile of the mother. It's called the gestalt of a smile. And gestalt, of course, is a branch of learning. In fact, my daughter is a gestaltist, and she actually specializes in that, this sort of embodied learning. Fifth E is ecological, and it brings together all the ecologies and the ethical principles. You hear the cry of the poor and the cry of the earth at the same time. You talk about responsible stewardship. You talked about universal communion. And you are mindful of the ethical use of technology as part of the integral human development and integral ecology. You see this tree there. I actually gave some prompts to ChatGPT. I say you give me an image which expresses the interconnectedness of all things and so on. And then within 3 seconds, it comes out with a tree. Now, what is mindfulness? You see a face of the image, also generated by a ChatGPT. Very peaceful sort of face, Now, every word of this definition has been studied. Probably PhD theses have been written on it, every word of it. So mindfulness means paying attention. Paying attention in a particular way, on purpose, in the present moment, and non-judgmentally. And that's John Kabat-Zinn, the pioneer of the mindfulness. Watchwords: intention, attention, and attitude. That's the IAA. So what is mindfulness? Mindfulness is reflexive, heightened self-awareness. Reflexive, not just reflective, but reflexive. It has to be heightened, because reflexiveness, the essence of reflexiveness is a heightened self-awareness. And that arises through intentionally. It has to be intentionally attending in an open, caring, and discerning way. So intention, attention, gratitude, acceptance. Now, what is the present moment? This is the present moment. How long is the present moment, do you think? A second? 2 seconds? 3 seconds? Nothing at all? No time at all? What is it? But the truth of the matter is, it is the only existential moment that we have. We have no other moment, because every moment that we have is in a here and now. We're still in the present moment, are we? Or have we passed the present moment? Maybe if you are listening to a lecture, a very boring lecture, well, every moment is an eternity. But anyway, there it is. Now, to be reflexively self-aware and intentionally focused on the here and now, that is of the essence in present moment meditation. Now, have you heard of Martin Buber's this famous sentence? If you have not, I recommend that you do try to remember it. I and now, in the here and now. A whole therapy is founded on this one insightful sentence. This is a man, Martin Buber, that you've got to respect. I and now, in the here. I and thou, in the here and now. Lovers say that to each other, right? I and thou, in the here and now. Now, I want you to look at T.S. Eliot, the beautiful words in the 4 quartets. Time present and time past are both perhaps present in time future, and time future contained in time past. What might have been and what has been point to one end, which is always present. So now I want you quickly, very quickly, look at this. You don't need to close your eyes. I created this. I call it a moving still point. And this is our second practice moment. Now try to finish the meditation in less than a minute. I would ask you to imagine first how you conceive of time. Does time arrive? You say, the future has arrived. That means that as if the arrow of time is pointing at you and the future arrives. But I'd like you to think of it the other way around. You think of the arrow pointing forwards. And you take the present as if it is a gift. The gift, present is gift. You then point the arrow outwards and you hold on to the arrow and you travel with it so that all the time you are with the arrow and you're going straight. And now you remember what T.S. Eliot says, time present and time past. Perhaps present in time future, always present. So if you can go back and try again to meditate on this, you'll be able to grasp what it means by the moving. The moving, you move, but it is still a still point. Now, I have explained what reflective mindfulness means and the difference between reflectivity and reflexivity because of the heightened level of self-awareness. And this is famous Donald Sean, who wrote the book called The Reflective Practitioner, and asked you to meditate in your practice as well as on your practice. And he does not distinguish between the two senses, the two words, but he is really pointing his finger at a very, very important point. Now we come to the Lonergan method. Who is Lonergan? Now Bernard Lonergan was a Jesuit. He was one of the finest thinkers of the 20th century. When he died, that was what the Times told. He was born in You can see 1904, and then he died in 1984 in Canada. Now, this is, in a way, a journey of self-discovery, sort of coming home to myself, because that through chaplaincy that you see over there, this is where I was first introduced to Lonergan. And then his magnus opus. In fact, he has about 27 volumes, but this is his magnus opus, Insight and Method in Theology. Now, the Eureka moment, you all know about that. Eureka means I found it, the aha moment. You know about the story of Archimedes. He's the world's most famous streaker. He discovered the insight, he reached an insight into the principle of displacement, and then he tried to make it into the streets of Syracuse. Eureka, I found it. And it's important to understand what heuristic is, Eureka, the aha moment, because we use it in algebra, we use it in physics, we use it in a common language like nature, for example, which is a heuristic notion. And why do I actually place emphasis on this? Because the structure that I'm going to tell you in a few moments, the Lonergan structure is both heuristic and also generative. It is a generative four-level structure. It's like a generative IA. And I'm going to show you that it is in fact generative. It actually points to discovery. It helps you to discover. Let the X be unknown. And there, this is a famous proof, easy proof that 1 equals 0.9 recurring. That 0.9 recurring equals 1. And you can easily do that once you make use of X as a heuristic notion. You see that? No trick. It's not a thing. This is true. 1 at 0.9 recurring equals 1. Now, so your principles like truth is the content of correct judgment. It doesn't tell you what truth is, but it gives you a heuristic principle. And being is the objective, the pure desire to know. And good is to be done and evil avoided. This is the first principle of practical reasoning. It doesn't tell you what good is, it doesn't tell you what evil is, but without that principle, morality is impossible. Now, self-appropriation, that's the key to Lonergan's method of reflexive mindfulness. There is a critical realist tool to facilitate heightened reflective consciousness over the full range of conscious acts, awareness of awareness, insight into insight, and personal appropriation of one's affective and rational. It's not just rational, but also feelings, emotion, affective. And you have mindfully to integrate learning, not just as a mode of thinking or a mode of doing, but as a mode of being. So it is learning to be, rather than simply learning to do. And then you have to go through that, all the four levels. And then the empirical level, the intellectual level, the rational level, and the responsible level. Through the word is called sublation. And you can see that, what is sublation? It is a progression through the four levels. And it is not just deduction, it is not just induction, it is not just abduction. You know what abduction is? You know induction, deduction, but abduction is simply inferring to the best possible explanation, to the best explanation. So, and then the sublation, you go from this, and then you have got the three questions that you've got to ask sometime, or one time, maybe not exactly in the same language. Is what I am doing when I'm knowing, and that's cognitional theory. Why is doing that knowing, that epistemology? And what do I know when I do it? That is metaphysics. Now, you don't need to worry too much today about these three questions, but just bear that in mind. And then what is critical realism? You have to understand what this picture means. This is from Raphael's. This is the famous frescoes in the Vatican palace. And you see, do you recognize him? Yes. Do you recognize? This is Plato, with his hand pointing up to heaven, pointing up there. And then this is Aristotle, with his hand pointing forward, almost not entirely downwards, but with his fingers pointing a little bit upwards. So he's a critical realist. He's a critical realist. So Aristotle, of course, is a idealist, conceptualist, but of course that is, I'm sorry, Plato is an idealist. Now this is the 4 levels. First level is down there, experience. This is the intentionality analysis, the IA, not the AI, the IA, the intentionality analysis. Experiencing, understanding, judging, deciding. This is the 4 levels. Each level is important. You experienced the data of the consciousness and the data of sense. So this is the level where you have the empirical level. Then you have the understanding, which is the conceptual level, concept. So it's data, concept, judgment, decision. And the decision is for responsible action. Same thing. So that means that your 4 precepts are attentive, be intelligent, be reasonable, be responsible. Now, be attentive. This is the level of data, the first level. Now, first level is of sense as well as of consciousness. So you have to be attentive, and not just to the content of your the cognitive act. You have to be attentive to the actual process, to the actual process, which is part of analytic meditation. You have to, the very process of thinking may be the subject of meditation. You can see how this is done. In fact, you are able to do the same thing with the maxim, seeking truth from facts. From the facts, from the datum of fact, then you arrive from fact to concept, from concept to judgment, from judgment to responsible action. Be intelligent. This is the second level. Now, thinking is not the same as knowing. Some people think that I think, therefore I know. No, thinking is only the process. I mean, it's not the same as knowing. You can think and think and think until the cows come home, but it doesn't mean that you know anything. You think, but you still have to reach up. You have to reach to the concept level of intelligence, reflection, and then intelligence. Be reasonable. That's the third level. And then you make a judgment. And when you make judgment, it is not just cold reasoning. It is also emotion. It has to be affective and rational at the same time. You reach judgment. Is it so? You can conceive, you can imagine a lot of things. You can conceive of a lot of things. It doesn't mean that what you imagined is true, that it exists. Or what you conceive, that it exists. Be responsible. This is a level of decision, the 4th level, where we have evaluates, we get values. That is where it is. Now, this is the axiological level, the ethical level. This is a value of values, of responsible, of the conscious intending subject. This is a very important level that we human beings can, in fact, reach. So it's a single unfolding through 4 levels of one intention of what is good. So it unfolds through 4 levels, not just one level, not just empirical, conceptual, and then concept, and then your judgment, and then you have responsible action. Now, is there anything beyond the 4th level? And the answer is yes, because the self we speak of is an embodied self. embodied self. It's the embodied relational self. And the fifth level is be in love. Be in love. That is the fifth level. The whole person is engaged at the fifth level. The human faculties of will, of reason, each in the unity of the embodied subject, as a feeling, willing, thinking, and acting person whose intersubjective consciousness, structured by insight, is transformed into a conscience that can powerfully speak and act through, as well as transcend, the cultures and ethos of particular times and places. And that is, the whole person is involved, the whole person, and not just one level is involved. And it's not just for yourself, but for seeking human good and happiness for others also, for all under heaven. Now, so Lonergan therefore summarized his method. He said, total surrender to the demands of the human spirit. Be attentive, be intelligent, be reasonable, be responsible, be in love. And his promise, thoroughly understand what it is to understand. And not only will you understand the broad lines of all there is to be understood, but also possess a fixed space, an invariant pattern, opening upon all further developments of understanding. Now, this is with particular interest to those who are experts in Confucianism. In fact, these levels can be found in Confucius. This is, again, is saturated with intentionality. You know the famous lines from the Great Learning. Professor Huang Fu, very familiar with this. First line from the Great Learning, the Tao Great Learning, luminous essence, resting in ultimate goodness. And then number two, if you read that, you'll find, starting from the knowledge, the desire for knowledge, the eros of the mind, you go towards Ding Yi Hao Nang. And of course, mindfulness can be translated as Jing Dun. And from Jing Yi Hao Nang, on peace of mind, and on Yi Hao Nang. This is deliberation. This word is deliberation. And this word is is cognation. Is cognation. It's from cognition to cognition and beyond. This is the fourth level. This is the fourth level. This is a level of evaluation. This is a level of decision for responsible ethical action. This is the level. This thing is similar to Lonergan's 4 levels plus 5 levels. And it's only after this one, when you have grasped your value, that you have, and then you get the plenitude, and then you get the all, and then you get, in fact, exactly the terminus, the end of it, where goodness, beauty, and truth, everything is combined. So you have got, therefore, the steps here, which is the Guanji Jito, which is the same as the Daihok Jito. So you can therefore see that the Lonergan is not alone. 4 levels, reaching there. Okay. Now this one, I'm going to skip because this is very difficult, but it's very beautiful. This is Lonergan's, this is looking at, so far we've been looking at from the viewpoint of the knower. What about on the side of the known? Now, on the side of the known, it fits. Is it the known on one side and the known on the other side? And you can see experiencing, you experience what is called potency, and then you understood what is called form, and then you judge and act. But this is a very difficult to analyze this. We're going to spend another hour. So I'm not going to do that. Just to tell you that this is part of his system. Now, and common sense, community, culture is all part of the system. Being in love and beings in love, you can see head, heart, hands, feet, from head to heart, and then from heart to head. But in the Confucian understanding of a heart, is a heart mind. It's not just the heart. It's the heart mind. So in fact, being be enough, being enough, being enough. And you can play with a hyphen. And as you take it off or put it back, and then you see that the meaning changes. The different horizons, and then eventually you head towards transcendent knowledge. Beauty, goodness, and truth are one. Okay, now we reach to the our next module, the last one, module 3, which is the mindful engagement with and ethical use of AI. Now, these are the laws of robotics, the 3 laws of robotics. A robot may not injure a human being or through inaction allow a human being to come to harm. 2, a robot must obey orders given by human beings, except where such orders would conflict with the first law. 3, a robot must protect its own existence as long as protection does not conflict with the first or second law. Now, the trouble about these 3 laws is that you can immediately see they don't provide for all the different human situations. And there's a conflict. And the story is because one robot was completely paralyzed because he cannot reconcile one law with the other. And so then Asimov put in another law called the zeroth law. A robot may not injure humanity or through inaction allow humanity to be injured. Now, the trouble about that law is that you can't prevent a robot from thinking that if it eliminates large sections of the population for the good of humanity as a whole, that's okay. So again, there's a problem. The trouble is, of course, when you have AI, they don't actually build in these sort of laws to sort of paralyze and activate AI if certain things are done. So this is not a robot that is truly autonomous. It's a robot that has been built in with these laws. And well, let us make robots to our own image and likeness. This is Imago Humanis, lapsi. I've added the word lapsi, lapsed humanity, fallen humanity. So let us make robots to our image of fallen humanity. You can see the consequence of that. Now, we have to mind the gap between intentional consciousness and AI. Now, minding the gap in this context does not mean trying to bridge what is unbridgeable or which ought not to be bridged. It means trying to understand and leverage on human potential and the radical differences between human beings and machines, however awesome or even scary generative AI and future developments may be, AGI, and so on. Now, the greatest deep fake that can be perpetrated is when we are duped into thinking that AI is conscious like a human being and should have equal rights with us. So we have to unlock human potential and in areas where we excel, where IA says that AI cannot do, areas that they are not good at, and or impossible, they're not able to bridge that big divide. What makes us uniquely human? So we must know the limitations of both IA, that's on the human side, and AI on the artificial intelligence side. Now, mindfulness can help us focus on the needed skill sets and the competencies, especially through IA, not through AI, it's through IA. So mindfulness can nurture growth, empathy, emotional intelligence, creativity, innovation, resilience, and any other deeply human qualities, and so-called soft skills, looking out for opportunities created by modern technology and so on. So professionals should become mindful, reflexive practitioners with AI and digital literacy and cross-disciplinary training to navigate the complexity of the new so-called Calvin world. Now, this is the Calvin word. This is a new word. Calvin is called complexity, anxiety, and liminality. And over this side, you have volatility, incomprehensibility, and the last one is non-linearity. Now, it used to be called VUCA, and then Banny and so on. It's now called Calvin. And so it is this world that we have got to navigate. And we have to, how to navigate it, you can see from here, navigating this future world means really concentrating on those areas where we as human beings are actually excel, and where AI does not or cannot. So this is the area that we have to concentrate. This is the area we have to focus to develop those skill sets where they cannot, where AI cannot or will not be able to do so. The word liminality is a distinct feature of the age of AI. Is a state in between ambiguity, uncertainty, of fluidity. Now, how Lonergan mindfulness helps self-knowledge and unlocks human potential, because it actually identifies the area of the big divide between AI and IA. And it then points to where it actually where we as human beings will be able to develop our skills and do it in a way better, or in a way that that AI would not be able to. Now this is ChatGPT's own assessment of the gap. So I asked ChatGPT, I said, look, I said, I'm going to put you the 4 levels, and you're going to tell me what you can do that you can't do what that human beings can do. What is the difference? And then it actually summarizes it. It said, on the first level, AI lacks the embodied experience and sensory perception. Number 2, on the second level, AI, use the word currently, AI lacks the depth of human intellectual capacity. At the third level, rational, the fourth level is the value of axiological level. The fourth level is the level that we saw in Confucius, the one of the deliberative level. That's the level. AI lacks the ability to engage in self-reflection on moral and ethical choices and decisions. And finally, it lacks the existential reflection and search for meaning, or the inherent drive for transcendence. Now, that is ChatGPT's own assessment of the difference between IA and AI. So you take it from the horse's mouth, and this is what it says. Now, what should we do to ensure that AI is wisely and ethically used? Now, that's easy, I think. Actually, you can find the answers in ChatGPT. If you press it, it gives you a whole list of things that you should do. Stay informed. AI literacy. I'm told now that the university is going to make AI literacy compulsory. Compulsory. You can't pass you can't get out of this university with a qualification without getting AI literacy. It's now compulsory. You must know AI's strength. You must know the policy requirements. It's quite, quite an intelligent set of requirements. I don't know whether Brian Chan is gone now. Yeah. But anyway, the core principles are simple, really. Equal access to security, privacy, literacy, sound pedagogy, cost assessment. This is where the difficulty is. How do you assess? And there are a lot of rules for assessment. And for us, again, we've got to do an impact assessment. And we have to learn how to ask questions, how to prompt, because if you ask the wrong questions, then you get the wrong answers. Yeah. And the greatest fool can ask a question that the wisest man can't answer. So you have to learn how to prompt. Prompt engineering is a very important thing. And then you have to check your references, watch out for fakes and bias and so on. And use AI judiciously, right? And then AI governance, ethical frameworks, including human oversight. That's important. Remember the laws of robotics. Human beings come first. Privacy, security measures, continuous monitoring, evaluation, collaboration and dialogue. Now, and in conclusion, now if you're able to take in this paragraph and understand it, then we will have understood the whole of my lecture anyway. So in conclusion, a core point in this presentation is that IA marks the gap between intentional consciousness and AI and shows us the need inter alia to mind the gap by excelling in the very skills and competencies that humans can and AI cannot. Moreover, a non-linear method of self-appropriation serves as a model of reflexive mindfulness. It is linked with the natural, powerful, generative four-level structure of knowing and acting. It is perfected in love at the fifth level and beyond in self-transcendence. It intersects with analytic meditation, and all the qualities of the mindfulness I've described are actually supported in a book actually by the Dalai Lama called The Open Heart. And the Open Heart actually supports every single point that have made about the nature of the meditation, the process, the thinking about thinking, all part of analytic meditation. And these are my acknowledgements, and thank you very much. But I want to now do the last quick exercise, which will demonstrate how you actually go from one level to another very quickly. It is where I actually give you this. It will take only 2 minutes to do that. Have you got this? Now, you go from bottom up. You read from bottom, not down, because the first level is always the first level. First, be attentive. Be attentive. Look at what you get. Now, there you are meditating on what is called, according to Thich Nhat Hanh, the famous Buddhist monk, on the what is called loving kindness meditation. He has got his four. He's got his four loves, but expressed in terms of elements of love. I'll come to that later. Because I concentrate on things that I actually practice. I'm very careful about not trespassing into areas that I do not personally actually do. So this is the result of my own meditation for over the years. I put them together, and then you start off with love, which is similar to the loving kindness meditation in Thich Nhat Hanh. Now, okay, you see the four kinds of love in Chinese. I don't need to read it. You know what it is, and this corresponds to the four kinds of love in Greek. And the four kinds of love in Greek is eros, that's romantic love. Phileo, that's friendship. Agape, that's perfect love. And storge, that's family love and between members of the family. So you can see there's a correspondence between the Chinese concept, not exact equivalence, but near enough. And if you see the word FT, FT is a reference to Fratelli Tutti, which is the exhortation of Pope Francis, and he also describes the types of love, but he translated and it matches with the Chinese one. So then you look up there and you see ngoi, and you see the simplified version of ngoi. As you know that in simplified Chinese, they've taken away the heart, but they have added a stroke, a horizontal stroke, to turn it into friendship. So if you're looking at this, as it were, you're looking at the friendship side, the comradeship, which is very, very important. It doesn't mean to say they don't have any heart. I think it's very unfair to say that the Chinese simplified character, they have no heart. No, because if you look at the dictionary, you'll find that the radical for the word is not heart, but the word sao, which is the word on top of the word, which is to received, like receive. You see all that. Now, what you can do is, if you're meditating on love in a way that is recommended by a lot of the masters, you have to identify yourself. You have to analyze it, because it is analytic meditation. You are not only allowed to analyze, you are obliged to analyze, and that is stressed in this little book that I have called The Open Heart, 开心啊, Open Heart, and stress that you have to analyze. Use the word 4 times, and don't forget our intentionality analysis is part of it. So you analyze it and you meditate. You look at it and you understand the different types of love. And if you feel it, You have to feel it. I mean, you can't sort of coldly analyze the words. That's not meditation. You have to identify yourself with it. But now you go upwards. You go up to the Good Samaritan, the story that lawyers know, Donahue and Stevenson, the neighbor principle. And it's a very simple point that is missed by a lot of people. The question the lawyer asked Jesus was, who is my neighbor? Putting myself as the center of the universe. Jesus did not answer the question. Jesus turned the question on his head and then told the story of the Good Samaritan and then asked the question, who do you think is a neighbor to the victim? Who do you think is a neighbor? It's not who is my neighbor. Who do you think is a neighbor? And he said, oh, it's a Good Samaritan helped this victim. And he said, go and do likewise. Okay. In other words, it's not everybody who is your neighbor, but that you must make yourself a neighbor to the person in need. You have to make yourself a neighbor. So that's the story. So this is that level. And the third level, I leave it to you. You go home. And that is a much higher level where the new commandment is then given. Because the old commandment is love your neighbor as yourself, you see. And the new commandment is then given, love one another as I have loved you. So, and then you can see how it is analyzed. So you can see 4 levels, 4 loves, going up all the time. Right? And now I finish with just one quick story. I know that I'm taking a little bit of a time of Professor's trip, but let me finish. This is a very moving thing, and it's really happened to me. It's actually one of the things that I always remember. I went to this St. Mary's home for the aged, the Little Sisters of the Poor in Wong Chuk Hang. I went there and I quietly visited them, but I did not want to disturb them. So I quietly went into the room. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw this beautiful young nun. Very nice. She was kneeling down. And then she was feeding this 100-year-old lady, spoon by spoon, concentrating on her. This is a present moment, no other moment. The only moment that matters. And she was doing that only spoon by spoon. And you can see the contentment, the peace, as if this old lady was the only person that mattered in the world. And the only matter, there it was. And then I said, good Lord, I mean, look, you want to know what the present moment is? You want to know what it means to serve, to respect a person? And then it dawned. She was treating that old lady as Jesus Christ himself. Spoon by spoon, quietly. Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. I call Professor or Mr. Chang Dennis. So thank you, Dennis. Lawyers in court address one another as my learned friend. So I think your lecture is a most learned lecture given by most learned lawyer in Hong Kong. It covers so many fields or academic disciplines that I think very few of us here can claim any adequate knowledge of all the disciplines concerned. But I think the lecture touches upon some of the very basic themes of being human, being alive. It is about what is thinking about thinking, what is mindfulness or meditation, the distinction between thinking and knowing, and many other things. I know that since, is it your student days, you have been interested in Lonergan's philosophy. Was that, you mentioned University of Bristol, was that where Was there, so you were there as a student. So was it there that you started to become interested in Lonergan?
It's a long story, but
Okay, I'm not you don't need
no, but I have the book here. I have the book here. This is almost 60 years, 55 years old. The same book.
Did you buy it when you were a student at university?
No, it was
too.
someone gave it to me because he made his own ambition in life was to make me read this book, and I read it, and I'm still reading it. It's a wonderful book. It's about everything. It's got about insight. It's got about time. It's got about space. It's got about quantum mechanics. It's got everything that you have. And for written 1957, it only got the expanding universe. Everything is there. Amazing, absolutely amazing. Yeah.
So yeah, your reading is indeed very wide ranging. It's definitely many times more than the legal world. I mean, reading about the law.
I spent very little time studying law.
So yeah, not just Lonergan, but also Confucianism and Isaac Asimov, the father of is it father of science fiction, and many things. Also, this Open Heart book by the Dalai Lama. So I should not I should not infringe upon the time allocated to the discussant. I'm very pleased to introduce you to the discussant today, Professor Chui Ming Sum, Professor of Social Work and the former Dean of Social Sciences at the St. Francis University in Hong Kong. I don't have time to introduce all your achievements, but I would just invite you to to speak.
Good morning, Professor Chen, and my mentor, Dennis. Yeah, he requested us to call him Dennis. Yeah. Right before my reflection, I received a WhatsApp message from my son before the Father's Day. He said that, "Father, there's no need to be nervous. Be yourself." But this message is created by AI. Because he's too busy to do so, as a boy, and he's also a egghead scholar, a young egghead scholar. So during the long weekend of Dragon Ball Festival, I locked myself in my office to do some meditation because I received the invitation from Dennis. It's my great honor in my life, in my academic career. We are a perfect match. 44 years ago, Dennis was appointed as, at that time, Queen's Counsel, and now Senior Counsel. 44 years ago, I was just a fresh graduate, a frontline social worker, and then I developed my career, into counseling and also human resource management. So I have a lot of professional license. But I think when Dennis invited me to be here, there's a thinking, in his mind. His mind says, if Ming Sum understand, even Ming Sum understands, everyone will understand. So, and at my home, my mentor is not Dennis. My mentor and my master is my wife. At my home, there's no such thing, human rights. The wisdom for survival is my wife is always right. And when she knew that, oh, what you are worrying about, by reflection and response to Dennis' lecture. So, let me see what happened. So there are 5 levels of learning. Embodied. It's easy, It's just fully understand, means fully understand. That means in Cantonese is 融會貫通. Okay? 融會貫通. And the second point, embodied, is just become part of you. The learning becomes part of you. So it's 潛移默化. My wife advised me it's 潛移默化. And number 3, extended. Extended means when you learn one thing, you can apply it to other items, right? It's 舉一反三. It's so easy, right? And the 4th one, enacted. That means you practice what you learn. It's 身體力行. And the last one, ecological. That means you apply what you learn to enhance both the human well-being and also the natural environment. 普度眾生 is a Buddhist concept, right? So he prepared a comfort food. Yes, 5 points. Give them 5 enough. But in fact, he advised me not to come because my wife said that, the noble legal practitioners, the time is valuable. You waste the time. I have 12 minutes, 1 minute for acknowledging my mentors here. And the last minute, just say thank you to you, all of you. And the time is so valuable. So don't waste the time. So keep it short. Okay, for the 4 level, and then maybe 4+ levels of learning is from experience something, and then you understand, make judgment, and finally make decision. That's a very natural reasoning approach. Natural process. That's the wisdom from my wife. And so he prepared this comfort food. The 5X, because I'm an egghead scholar. And he advised me not to give you headache. 頭痛. Okay. What is the implications of this 5X? Let me show you the, okay. Please go to point number 2. 明心見性. My Chinese name is 徐明心 in Cantonese. 徐明心 in 普通話. It's from my mommy. My mommy is already there. And 明心見性. Sing is nothing related to sex or gender. 明心見性 is a Buddhist thinking. It's whenever you understand the core of the matter, then you really know the nature of it. So when Dennis invited me, I'm going to serve as a mirror, to reflect and revisit what you talked about. And Dennis requested me, no, not only this, please go beyond and go further. Come on, it's a mission impossible. It's a mission impossible. So let us just revisit the way we were and the road ahead. I borrowed the concept from the Hollywood movie and Microsoft. He wrote a book of it. I forget the name of this big guy, the founder of Microsoft. Anyway, the point number 3. Although I am not a legal practitioner, we have commons as professional practitioners. We are serving our clients in the form of cases and always construct contracts. And the communication is the crux of the matter of our service. And there's always need to come up with consensus, and we keep everything confidential, and there's consultation. And the last but not the least, we need common sense as the foundation of our professional practice. So for the 5X, it inspired us about we need to know the context of the X. That's the oolong tea. And we need to understand the concept. That's the yolk, dan wang, of the egg. And we need to know about the contents. That's the egg white. And we need to taste the egg itself, and also the oolong tea is the construction of meaning, and come up with a conclusion. Okay, so be brief, and then let us not go to something very difficult, but let us be down to earth. There's a very famous picture taken by astronaut Mr. William Anders. You know, unfortunately, he just passed away in a accident. You know, he drive a plane. You know, he was born in Hong Kong, and I need to acknowledge NASA. You know, because they allow the public to use this image. The name of the picture is Earthrise. Earthrise. It makes us understand that the global village is so small, and human beings, we cannot afford to be selfish or self-centered. Now, let us look at what happened, you know, in front of us in the postmodern world. In Chinese, is 合久必分. Now, we are in a we are living in a divided world. From globalization in the last 40 years to now, we are faced with deglobalization. Now we are living in a divided world, which is further developed, further divided at all levels, from family to university, and then to nations. And they are delinking, at least blockage, or the link of the flows of human talents, goods, capital, and information. And there is a global warning about global warming, the climate change, pandemics, and also record-breaking extreme weather. You know, just like in this afternoon, you know, suddenly there's thunderstorm. You know, and the last one, but maybe the most important one, is we need to interact with AI and robots. It may be a challenge or an opportunity, or maybe even a disaster. And in the postmodern society, there's a phenomenon, is compression of time, space, capital, and information. And let me tell you, AI is more efficient and maybe even effective than BI. What is BI? Biological intelligence, human intelligence, or the barrister's intelligence. Because AI is faster, cheaper, more accurate, and also it serves you as a servant. At this moment, he or she is no gender, but servant. But maybe in the near future, it become our master. I don't know. And do you know, at this moment, there are already more robots in Hong Kong, more than human beings. There are 7.4 million people in Hong Kong, living in Hong Kong. But we have more robots, at least twice or maybe even 5 times. I told my son, no way, how come we have more robots I just saw 2 or 3, in the fast food shop to collect dishes. And Daddy, my son told me that, Daddy, you forget, you have 2 mobile phones and 4 computers. They become robots. The CPU will become GPU, graphic processing unit. And every one of us will need to buy a new computer. It's a robot, okay? And from 2 consultancy reports, one by Goldman and Sachs in last year, and another by McKinsey consultancy firm. The most vulnerable city in the world, face the impact of unemployment is Hong Kong, not Singapore, not Japan, not New York City, the most vulnerable city, And I'm glad to see that Hong Kong is still number 1, at least, but in this area, we'll lose our jobs. And lawyers will be among one of the top 5 occupations. We'll be losing our jobs, maybe in the next decade. And Professor Chen told me that, don't worry, maybe solicitor goes first, and then second, barrister, and then third, senior counsel, and the last one will be the professor, But you know why? Because our noble legal profession is, first one, cost expensive, and also knowledge intensive. But AI has a lot of knowledge, a lot of information. And the last one, the time constraint. They're always deadlines to meet. I took this picture, in Australia, the Gold Coast. And the bird is Dennis. He led us, to somewhere, in the sea of knowledge. And what I get from the lecture, is first one about thinking and deep self-learning for professional practice. Focus on the integration of mind and body, and focus on here and now, and with an empty and humble attitude towards the future. And the second one is we need to go beyond the traditional reflective practitioner, by Donald Sean, in the process of practice and over the process of, or on the process of practice. And we need to become a mindful, reflexive practitioner. In Cantonese, is 靜觀正念，反躬自省. The first one is about mindset. And the second one is about your body. And of course, you may also use 靜觀其變. Look for changes, also useful. Okay, and the uniqueness of this lecture, and I didn't see, similar, thinking in the literature is the IA, intentionality analysis in an AI age, which is analytical meditation, directed and long-term thinking about an object related to human well-being. And there is an integration of knowledge from Longigan. But I visited U of Toronto. I also come from U of Toronto. Okay. And I just saw there are 24 volumes, so I won't touch it. And an easier way is to look up an article, by Father Guan, Guan Zizhong Sanfu. He did an interview with Longigan and wrote a short essay, which is easier to understand. You may just search Longigan 中文 you can get it from the website. And so on, and also Buddhist thoughts and Catholic belief. Of course, there are also Chinese culture. Okay, time is okay. Practice is always dynamic and complicated. So, what's my suggestion is we need to be moved a little bit from evidence-based to have empathy for our kinds. Legal professions and other human professions are not only evidence-based. We are also value-based, relationship-based, and kind-based. And we need to move from providing answers to asking questions. From now on, the Chinese translation of knowledge will become Hokman. In Cantonese, Hokman. Learning, that means learning to ask questions. And we need to review. We are just a profession. That means only a profession or a just profession. A profession working for justice. And we have heart, head, and hands. Because AI is coming, heart, head, and hands. We don't need to use it. We can use AI, replace head and hands. So we need to open our heart to take care of others. Our profession is noble, humble, or just technical. We need to ask ourselves. And there's a suggestion to remove the boundary between different professions and different disciplines. And the last, do you know what we are looking for? I put it in Cantonese first. 求知, 求真, 求善, 求美. And Dennis advised me, you add 求伴, because we need partnership. And then the last one is 無求. I don't want to put 求其. 求其 means so casual. But anyway, it's we look for knowledge, truth, good, beauty, partnership, and to become natural. And then eventually we hope that we can achieve ultimate well-being of human beings. The question I wasted is, of course, we know all this, but how to get it done? How to get it done? So I conclude this with a picture drawn by a 9-year-old boy in Hong Kong. Hong Kong is always beautiful, at least in my mind. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Chui, for your learned commentary. May I first remind members of the audience that each one of you should have got an evaluation form, and we would appreciate your filling in the form in the next few minutes, at least before you leave. Since this is a CPD event, we have to be particularly punctual. So since we only have a few minutes left, maybe I will take 3 questions from the floor, each not more than 1 minute, and then I'll ask Dennis to reply in a few minutes. Okay, so first come, first served. Anyone? No? Okay, that's Anson. Yes, please.
Do you think AI will promote or be against democracy development in the world?
Would you like to record it first? Because we take 3 questions. AI and whether it will promote or have any kind of democracy in the world. Okay, second question. Last. Sorry?
A question to
Yes.
Mr. Chang. How, as a lawyer, do you use the fifth level, love, in your professional practice?
Okay, that's good. And thank you to both of you for complying with the one minute limit for questions. The third and last one, though not least. No? Okay, if no, then Dennis, we have 1 or 2 more minutes to answer the 2 questions. So yeah, you have at least 3 or 4 minutes. Will you like use? Or you can just say, in addition to answer questions, you can also say.
No, because
You want.
I didn't know that the acoustic is that bad actually, so I didn't quite catch it. But I can sort of guess what you were asking. You asked whether AI will promote democracy.
Will it promote or be against the
Well,
democratization in the world?
there are different bots from different countries. And of course, they've tried to give an objective. You've asked them questions about democracy, they will give you the arguments for and the arguments against and so on. And I don't think that the bots are there to promote. I mean, it depends on, if you ask a bot from one country, another country, very different. The way they look at democracy, they are very good at answering questions. But at the same time, you can also, they have a lot of ways of, giving answers that appear to be very objective, but not necessarily so. So you've got to be very careful. I don't think, at the end of the day, it's more in terms of the effect one would have thought. I mean, is it going to reinforce and intensify existing inequalities? Some people have means of access to AI, but some don't. So it's not the bot promoting it, but the existence of this AI, the way it is utilized and so on. It's going to be fair, it's going to be transparent, are going to serve vested interest, are going to reflect the makers, the people who are in control and so on. At the end of the day, we've got to watch very carefully. So perhaps that's my answer to that question. The other one is lawyers. I don't quite catch it. Oh, yeah, please.
How to exercise love in professional practice?
How do you exercise reflect?
Love in professional practice. How do you exercise the fifth level, love in professional practice as a lawyer?
I don't. Yeah, I think it's either my hearing or the mic. Yeah.
Level is be in love. Is that right? Your fifth level is be in love.
Oh, be in love.
So how do you apply practice?
How do I apply to practice? Well, what is love? I mean, love is wishing the good of the other, right? It's not just a feeling. So in terms of love, I mean, you have to be, first of all, so it's not just it's not just co-rationality, but and it is in the chain that you'll be able to see really how a lawyer really sees with a mission and vision. Chain. Don't forget the chain. Thank you. Is that all?
So it's exactly 7:30. So it's as punctual as AI, I suppose we are.
Do you want to stay for another half an hour? No.
Officially, we end here. So thank you to all of you for attending this academic event, and thank you very, very much to Mr. Dennis Chang for giving us the most illuminating lecture. So I think it definitely assists our process of self-discovery upward to the higher levels of human existence and transcendence. So thank you very much.
Thank you.